Hello everyone, I'm Yasmine Belle, your host. Today we are discussing the Financial Friday, part 2 of last week's piggyback. So the main topics we are going to discuss today are financial statements, what monthly financial statements you must have, what are the daily reports that you must have at your fingertips, and what is your break-even point, which is basically how much revenue do you need to bring in order to break even. And then we will wrap it up with some fixed cost versus variable costs. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. This is a safe space to discuss all things finance and everything in between. I'm an accountant, a tax titan, and a financial coach. So let's talk finance. So before we dive in, let's recap just a little bit what we discussed last Friday, which is the importance of seeking clarity with your numbers while developing a concrete budget. So I mentioned to download the Clarity application. It's Clarity Money application, and it links your banking, your investment accounts, and your loan application, so you can be able to really have a clear digital budget online on an app. So easy. I love it. I look at it every single day. But please note, you can use any other application. This is simply one that I use personally and also offer it to my clients to use because it is so simple, and the best of it, it is free, and we love free, right? So so the link below, if you're interested, I have included it. So we also discussed how to obtain real numbers and get on an accrual accounting method. So be sure, if you have missed that episode, please review it last Friday, Financial Friday. And then, so let's dive in. So when we usually sit down with clients, the first thing that they ask is to review their financial statements. And financial statements cover the ins and outs of the business cash flow, right? So the main three reports which you want to have on a monthly basis from your accountant or bookkeeper are a profit and loss, which is also known as an income statement, a balance sheet, a cash flow statement. These are the three main, very important reports that you must have at your fingertips, as they're all linked together. Now, if you don't have a financial software that is able to generate these types of reports, and you are a business owner, I highly recommend you getting a free accounting software that you're able to run your business on. You cannot run your business long-term without having an accounting software, especially when you're going to have to work with projections, right? And you want to see where your business is headed. And so let's make things just a little easier and build a financial structure. So your business is your biggest asset. So don't cut corners, right? You don't want to cut corners, especially when you deal with money. You want to make sure it's clear, it's transparent, it's easy, and it flows. It's automatic, right? So a lot of these accounting softwares now have the digital online banking, which links directly to your bank. It's fantastic. It's such a time saver. One of the few that are free that I know of that I have, some of my friends use, or some other clients, are Mint. I know Mint is free, Wave is free, Personal Capital. We partner up actually with QuickBooks Online. So, it is a very small fee every single month, but it's definitely worth it. And QuickBooks has a bunch of bells and whistles, including budgeting and automatic reports and things like that. So if you do have some extra cash to spend, I highly recommend to, just Google online and see top free accounting softwares out there, or check out the ones that I have recommended. So if you are preparing a budget for your personal needs, you want to also use some of these above mentioned software, which will allow you to get acquainted with your ins and outs of cash flow, which will allow you to budget, as well as set up an accounting software under accrual method, right? So even if it is a personal, I have so many of my clients, this is what I do all the time, right? They say, oh, I know what my my monthly budget, and I spend $500 here, and I have $200 here, and $300 here, and it's like, okay, well, let's get to Clarity Money and see and share with me your budget details, and because I have to log into their Clarity Money, and I'm like, what's this thing for Amazon? That was an extra one. What is this one for, I don't know, makeup or things like that. So, it's just one of those things. We are, it's so easy to use a plastic and just swipe or buy something online and forget. So if you're going to want to stick to a budget, and I don't even really like using the word budget because budget seems so constricted, but as I'm developing this with you, we're going to make like the super duper budget, which is saving your money, knowing where your money goes, being able to put it into your happy account, as I like to call it, so that way you're not ever feeling like you are tied down and you're missing out, basically. So stick with me through this journey together. So we will go over more in depth the financial statements next video, but I want to keep it a little bit simple this time around. So the reports that you want to get also at your fingertips on a daily basis are the cash balances. So cash, think cash, who you owe, right? Which is also accounts payable, right? You're paying out, so it's accounts payable, also known as AP for a little short accounting term. So AP is who you pay. AR is receivables, right? Accounts receivables is who who owes you money, and then you want to get your cash balances. So those are the three main reports that you want at your fingertips on a daily basis. And actually, I get mine emailed to me automatically from our accounting software, and it goes directly to my email. So in the morning at 8 a.m., I guess what? I get all 3 reports. I review them and I go, okay, this is where we sit today. This is where we sit tomorrow, right? So, and you can actually have that report, broken down into weeks, into days, into months, into quarters. It's actually, fantastic. So there's so many things to do with an accounting software. And again, I can't urge you enough to just invest in it. Be the best investment. It's peace of mind. I love peace of mind, inner peace, right? So so those are the 3 main reports that you want at your fingertips at all times. So now we want to jump into the break-even point and what that even means. So what it basically means is, how much revenue do I need to bring into the business to make no money? So that is your break-even point, and it's so important because it also is called like overhead costs. But the break-even point is really, what do you need to bring in at a minimum to keep the lights on? So this strategy can be used for business or personal, and so what is your break-even point? So how do you even figure this out? Well, what you have to do is get a spending plan, which is also known as a budget or forecast your income. So how you budget or even set up a spending plan is, if you're able to get your hands on an accounting application, you will be able to develop a budget, which you will be able to obtain the information from the actual data, right? So actual costs get you to prepare a budget. So if you are a business owner that already has financials, you can pull the last 3 to 4 years, split them per year, and then go over them month by month and break it down and start there, right? So that's how we kind of figure out what the breaking point is, because you want to go through every single expense line item and ask yourself, is this a variable cost, and put a V on it, or is it a fixed cost, put an F, right? And so my suggestion would be, do not lump transaction into one account. So for example, if you're lumping all the costs for auto expense, then you will not really know what is your variable to fixed cost, because for instance, your auto lease is a fixed cost, right? And then because it does not change. So, but your gas is a variable cost. So it would depend on how much you would drive. So be sure you separate those expenses out and not lump those in. So in simple forms, fixed costs would be your rent, for example, because this does not fluctuate as you have 1 employee or 5 employees. A variable cost is anything that fluctuates that is not part of keeping the lights on, such as meals and auto fuel, etc. Now, be sure when you forecast your income, this means that if you get the same salary per month, if you're preparing an individual budget, you will want to use the same amount, which is the amount that you bring home, your net amount, right, after tax, per month across the entire year. So we want to be able to prepare an annual budget and also a monthly budget. So now you should have your break-even point number, which should be, which you can actually then calculate what your daily, weekly, and even monthly number would be to bring home without making any revenue. So this is your weekly exercise that I'm giving you for the week. Is one, know your real numbers, pull financials or create financials, prepare a budget of income and spending plan, right? Create a budget and go over all your expenses and outline variable and fixed costs. If you do not have an accounting software and you love Excel, just put it in an Excel and put variable column, fixed column, and then kind of, outline it there. And then for simple, you can always go to your bank and download the transaction into Excel, and it dumps it directly into Excel. And then if you're really good at it, you can kind of sort it out. So that's another way, but it just takes time. And, again, if you're banking on Excel and you're doing it yourself, there could be errors. So I, again, highly recommend you get an application, but if you feel like you want to stick with Excel, then that's how you do it. I get asked all the time, Yasmine, how do I get my clients to pay me on time? So one of the biggest issues in business is cash flow. And when a client doesn't pay you, you could go broke. So next week's episode, I will include a bonus little tip video on how to get your clients to pay you timely. So please join me next week for Financial Friday Part 3, where we will discuss cash flow and what is your critical driver, budgets and forecasting continued, operating cash, and some additional tips and tools. Thank you for listening to Money Matterz TV. Stay financially healthy and remember, own your journey and be the CEO of your own life. Until next time, ciao.